Welcome to Fiction Audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, like and subscribing would be greatly appreciated. If you have any recommendations for novels, comment below.
Please join my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/fictionaudiobook.
Chapter 211, The Girl with a Pure Soul. Is it over? Judging humans was far more complex than eradicating the Gastria. It had taken Violet quite a bit of effort. Judgment completed. Inside the Void Ark, Rin asked Violet for the results. Report. Gastria have been completely eradicated. Human casualties are approximately 47.2 million. Nearly 50 million lives were extinguished by Violet. Rin remained unmoved. The vast majority of them directly or indirectly harmed, killed, or persecuted the cursed children. Depending on the degree of harm, the harshest penalty was death. The lightest punishment was to make them endure the pain the girls once felt. Rin had taken in all the cursed children, so he naturally had to carry their hatred and anger for them. To avenge them was justice. As for the rest, Rin didn't approve of their actions either, but he didn't kill them. He simply left a curse on them, out of discontent. He had no choice. If he didn't do something, his mind wouldn't be at ease. Let's cleanse this world. Rin was very satisfied with Violet's judgment. He gave the final order. Let this downpour be the curtain call to our journey. Rumble. At Rin's command, the skies across the entire world turned dark with clouds. Under the pouring rain, all traces of the G-virus, whether in the environment, in humans, or in other organisms, were completely eliminated. Even all forms of pollution disappeared under Rin's power. The earth would be revitalized through this rain. The world was reborn. Splash splash. Saitenchi stood silently in the rain, gazing at the dim sky. An hour had passed since judgment ended, yet her heart still hadn't settled. It wasn't just Rin's unimaginable divine power that overwhelmed her. It was that she had personally witnessed countless people turn into ash right in front of her. If it had only been that, her heart would be pained and sorrowful, but not shaken. The Gastria had been eliminated. Humanity would rise again. That alone was a blessing for the survivors. Compared to the Gastria, who had killed 7 billion in an instant, Rin's judgment wasn't extreme at all. However. Why is it like this? Saitenchi trembled uncontrollably. What shook her wasn't the loss of life, but the identities of those who perished. So many glamorous politicians, businessmen, and educators had all fallen under God's judgment. Was it all a lie? Almost all of the top leaders of Japan's administrative districts, aside from Saitenchi herself, had perished. Based on the standards of judgment that Rin had embedded into her mind, she couldn't understand why so many of them had died. Had Rin made a mistake? She questioned it. But deep down, she knew he had not. Those people had committed sins so great that not even God could forgive them. Human experimentation. Abuse of power. Violent extortion. Oppression of the people. If Saitenchi wanted to, she could dig up mountains of evidence to sentence every one of them to death. Are you confused? Suddenly, Rin's voice rang in her ear. Saitenchi came to her senses. She found herself, once again, standing before Rin. But this time, it was not in a white space. She was sitting peacefully in a quiet courtyard, tranquil and still. You. Before she could say anything, a gentle breeze swept over her, drying her soaked clothes. Thank you. Saitenchi instinctively bowed her head. I know what you want to ask. Rin raised his hand, stopping her before she could speak. The answer is cruel, but I did not wrong any good person. Even by the laws of your own country, the crimes of those people would be enough to sentence them to death 10 times over. When Rin first reviewed the reports from Violet, he had been shocked too. He hadn't expected the darkness and corruption of this world to run so deep. One could only say that the Black Bullet world was a dark fairy tale. And people like Saitenchi only existed to prove how small the light was in a sea of despair. Come with me. Huh. His sudden invitation left her stunned. Leave this world. Come with me and those children to a new one. Rin did not value her for beauty. He saw in her something far more precious, her soul. In Rin's eyes, her soul was the most brilliant gem in the world. Pure. Flawless. Dazzling. Warm. If one were to evaluate her by the cardinal world standards, she was a born saint. One who could awaken fully in the future. An awakened saint was equivalent to an awakened demon lord. Rin already had Artoria, a quasi-hero, under his banner. Now that he had found a potential saint, how could he possibly let her slip away? Sorry. I cannot leave right now. But Saitenchi turned him down. She couldn't leave. After the fall of so many leaders in Japan, order still needed to be rebuilt. The people needed someone to stand with them, to guide them through this storm. An unprecedented burden now rested on her shoulders. How could she abandon her people and flee to paradise? Have you made your decision? Yes. She didn't hesitate. Even if this is your only chance. She paused, but then nodded again, this time firmly. You really are extraordinary. In a place so corrupted, to bloom like a lotus, you are even more precious. Rin didn't press the matter. He wouldn't force a girl to join him. That would be too crude. But what if I told you that leaving doesn't mean abandoning them? Huh. Saitenchi blinked, confused. Snap. Rin didn't explain. He simply snapped his fingers. In the next instant, the two of them stood in the same place where Saitenchi had been before. This is. In her view, the falling rain had stopped in midair. The water that had been flowing on the ground froze in place. The people in the houses, the sounds in the air, the movement of light, all of it was paused. To be continued. One bonus chapter will be released for every 200 power stones. Chapter 212, Return. As you can see. Rin said, I've stopped time in this world. You can even do something like this. Gods really are incredible. Once again, Saitenchi was shocked by Rin's overwhelming power. He had wiped out the Gastria, judged humanity, brought down a cleansing rain, and now he had even stopped time. In this world, there aren't many things I can't do. Violet had already fully analyzed this world's laws. In a world without magical energy, stopping time was effortless. There are things you can't do. Of course. Rin smiled. Just like I can't turn this world into a perfect utopia. Utopia. Saitenchi naturally understood the concept. Is it because utopia defies common sense? No. Rin replied, it's because I don't want to. If it was just about appearances, I could hypnotize everyone and alter their perceptions. His words made Saitenchi feel an indescribable fear. But I won't do that. Because it's meaningless. That's what you mean by can't do. It wasn't that Rin couldn't achieve it. He simply rejected the method needed to get there. My taking you away doesn't mean you'll never return. I know you want to protect your people and restore order. But the question is, do you actually have the power to do that? Rin said, you know your own situation best. To put it nicely, you're the leader of Japan. But to put it bluntly, you're just a mascot pushed out onto the stage. Even if Saitenchi had talent and political sense, how many would truly listen to her? Could her policies actually be implemented? After the Day of Judgment, the world will fall into chaos. Without a powerful voice and real force to back it up, more innocent people were bound to die. Rin didn't have much love for this world. And based on Violet's projections, even if people died in the aftermath, it was their own doing. But no matter how precise the calculations, there were always flaws. What are you saying? Become my angel, Saitenchi. Rin spoke plainly. At my side, you'll gain knowledge and power that can truly change the world. You don't need to worry about this place during that time. Everything here will remain in time-stop suspension until you return. To recruit a girl with the potential of a saint, Rin had already shown enough sincerity. If she still refused, even he would be angry. Of course, he wouldn't truly punish her. At most, he'd spank her once and throw her back to this world, never to care about its fate again. Pure souls were rare, but not irreplaceable. As long as Rin continued to travel the multiverse, he would eventually encounter a second, a third. So, what's your answer? Saitenchi drew in a deep breath. Please let me become your angel. I want to save my world. Very good. She didn't disappoint him. She had made the correct choice. Let's go. Rin extended his hand to her. I'll take you to see a wider world. As for this place, consider it my welcome gift to you. Afterward, Rin arranged for Saitenchi to stay aboard the Void Ark, along with the Cursed Children. Upon this return, the first thing Rin had to face was the awakening ritual of a true demon lord. So the matter of the Cursed Children would be addressed afterward. Violet, has the soul purification been completed? It's done. Collecting the souls had been quick. But afterward, Justice had to use Violet's supercomputer capabilities to filter and extract pure soul energy. The collected souls were divided into 3 components based on their source. First, the soul core and a small amount of energy, to ensure they could reincarnate as normal people and begin anew. Second, the bulk of the soul energy. Justice would purify this portion, obtaining both purified soul energy and negative energy. The purified part would be used for Rin's awakening ritual. As for the negative energy, Rin wouldn't waste it. He would feed it to the ultimate skill, Lord of the End, which had evolved from all the world's evil. This power would be absorbed into Lord of the End, further strengthening it. All preparations are complete. We can return at any time. Violet could initiate the awakening ritual whenever Rin was ready. Rin nodded. Notify all monsters to board the Void Ark immediately. As the ruler, once Rin began his evolution, everyone would enter a state of deep sleep, just like in the anime. This wasn't mere rest. It was a channel through which they could receive power from Rin's awakening. It was a demon lord's blessing from him. Advancement, evolution, and even acquiring new skills. Even death was reversible. Under the effects of that blessing, they could be reborn in a stronger form. But all of that required them to sleep. Which meant Rin had to ensure their safety. The Void Ark has been connected to the Cardinal World. The monsters are boarding in an orderly fashion, under the command of Snow Empress and Artoria. Also, during the ritual, Magicules can be replenished from the Cardinal World as needed. Rin was confident in Violet's arrangements. However, there was still one issue. His own protection. During the evolution, the other monsters could remain safe inside the Void Arkansas. But Rin had to remain outside, in the Cardinal World. He needed strong guardians. I remember Rimuru summoned demons during his evolution, didn't he? As it happened, the corpses of the Gastria Rin had eliminated were still preserved. Indeed, those beings erased by light had not been reduced to ash. Rin had intentionally kept them. He had no interest in preserving human corpses, but the Gastria had some research value. At the very least, highly purified bloodline crystals could be extracted from them, to help strengthen his cursed children. To be continued. Chapter 213, Primordials, Bonus. Violet, decompose the Gastria. Preserve the bloodline essence. Use the rest as sacrifices for the summoning. Rin's idea was the same as Rimuru's in the original. Use enough flesh and blood to summon powerful demons. In the Cardinal World, monsters respond depending on the quantity and quality of the sacrifices. Rimuru sacrificed 20,000 soldiers. Rin offered nearly 2 billion large-bodied Gastria. However, due to the difference between the two worlds, the overall quality of those 20,000 soldiers far exceeded that of ordinary people. Even so, 2 billion Gastria, along with the higher-level individuals among them. Rin felt it should at least be equivalent to hundreds of thousands of soldiers. So Rin sacrificed flesh and blood and waited as his subordinate monsters got to work. Until Ice Empress sent a thought message. Statistics complete. Everyone has entered the Void Arkansas. All right. Rin returned to the Cardinal World, then lay flat on his bed. Violet, begin the summoning. Sacrifices are ready. Beginning summoning. As a massive amount of Gastria flesh and blood was offered, a magic circle slowly took form in front of Rin. The next moment, terrifying magical energy burst forth, filled with unimaginable malice. Boom. Good magical energy. Looks like something strong showed up. Judging by the scale of Rin's summoning, he should have been able to summon at least 10 times more demons than Rimuru. Theoretically, that was enough to summon 100 Lord-level demons. However, once the magical energy fluctuations faded, only 4 figures appeared in front of Rin. 1 male, 3 females. The male had black hair and pitch-black eyes, dressed in a Western-style butler uniform. He was kneeling on one knee, showing respect to Rin, who had summoned him. The 3 girls included a white-haired one in white clothes, a purple-haired one, and one with yellow hair. Just like the black-haired youth, they were all half-kneeling, quietly awaiting orders. Primordials. Rin wasn't Rimuru. He wasn't clueless. Their appearances, especially their distinct colors, made their identities obvious. The 7 primordial demons. The oldest demons, each standing at the peak of all demonkind. Rin was honestly surprised. Primordials were all monstrous talents. Each one had potential equal to Ice Empress. If he could keep them, Rin's strength would jump to another level entirely. But why are you acting so respectful to me? From what Rin knew, aside from Primordial Purple, who was somewhat approachable, the other 3 weren't easy to deal with. Primordial White had a cruel nature and loved slaughter. Primordial Yellow had a bad temper and would attack at the slightest disagreement. Primordial Black, known as Diablo in the anime, was Rimuru's future #1 loyalist. His reason for following Rimuru was because he believed Rimuru was the temporal convergence point of Chloe. That's what had originally caught his attention. We should be meeting for the first time, right? Rin felt something was off. He wasn't in a hurry to awaken. That was inevitable. What mattered now was having Violet fully prepare things so he could acquire as many ultimate skills as possible. Ultimate skills would decide his power in the Demon Lord realm. So caution was more than justified. You carry the aura of that one. Primordial Black spoke. Is that a good enough reason? Not really. Rin shook his head. The Star King Dragon's bloodline was good, but he didn't want loyalty based on that alone. Of course, Rin wasn't worried that the 4 primordials would break the contract and attack him. Even the primordials wouldn't violate the terms of a summoning. Especially not after Rin had sacrificed so much. Just commanding them to protect him until he completed his awakening was more than enough. You really are cautious. But I don't dislike that. Rather, I'm fascinated by your very existence. Huh. Rin was stunned by Primordial Black's bold words. Demons didn't have strict gender concepts. But just like their forms, they had clear self-awareness. Well, except for Guy. That one had both male and female forms and liked both genders. Please don't misunderstand. This fascination isn't something like a human romantic relationship. I'm simply drawn in by your charm. Primordial Black was telling the truth. Ever since Rin awakened as a demon lord seed, especially after his unique skill Traveler evolved into Void Gate, he had begun to emit an irresistible aura. An aura so enchanting that it instinctively pulled in demons. It was like phototaxis, a light that demons couldn't help but move toward. To Primordial Black, Rin was that light in the darkness. Something he naturally wanted to follow and stay close to. I don't really get it, but, fine. You can follow me from now on. Thank you for your grace. Primordial Black bowed his head even lower, speaking with even greater reverence. I will give my all to ensure your awakening proceeds without issue. Then, what about the rest of you? Rin looked at the other three primordials. I heard a voice. She said she could give me what I wanted. Primordial Purple, the weakest among the 7 colors, enjoyed observing worlds and planting chaos to reap entertainment later. She was like a trickster, constantly stirring up mischief. But in Rin, she saw something new and full of potential. If she followed him, she would never be bored again. Are you here because of my void arc? Rin didn't mind that his world-traveling ability had been exposed. He was about to become a demon lord. By then, in the Cardinal world, only beings on Guy's level could challenge him. That didn't include Primordial Purple. It's just for fun. As someone who holds the key to endless worlds, I'll never be bored with you around. That really is. Primordial Purple's eyes sparkled. So exciting. My turn. Primordial Yellow stepped up. You're strong. I want to fight you. Her blunt words nearly made Primordial Black lunge at her. To be continued. One bonus chapter will be released for every 200 Power Stones. Chapter 214, Seed Awakening. That's simple. Rin ignored Primordial Black's murderous glare at Primordial Yellow and responded directly. Demons had no real camaraderie among themselves. Their status was determined entirely by strength. In other words, in Primordial Yellow's eyes, as long as Rin could defeat her, she would become his possession. At that point, she would naturally obey his orders. Truly an extraordinary figure. You possess potential even the Star King Dragon could never imagine. That is why I choose to submit. Finally, it was Primordial White's turn. She hadn't spoken out recklessly. Instead, she had been quietly observing Rin from the side. As one of the very few primordials capable of challenging Primordial Black and Primordial Red, she was second only to them in strength. Primordial White had always been extremely arrogant. But this time, she didn't treat the inhabitants of the material world as ants, like she usually did. On the contrary, her attitude was more humble than ever. So humble that even her fellow primordials didn't understand. Especially Primordial Yellow and Primordial Purple. The two had fought Primordial White before. Even working together, they couldn't defeat her, which showed just how terrifying she was. Don't get any strange ideas, White. Primordial Black watched her warily. She was a powerhouse who could actually contend with him. There was no such thing as being too careful. Oh dear, did I not make myself clear? As the second demon ever born, Primordial White possessed tremendous intelligence. She had seen a power in Rin that shouldn't exist. Rin paused to think, then asked, "You mean my ultimate skill, Lord of the End?" Yes and no. Primordial White said, "The Star King Dragon is the creator god and the destroyer dragon." But he hadn't fulfilled all his duties. The power Rin inherited from the Star King Dragon wasn't what was passed down. It was what had been sealed. The seed of the authority of destruction, Lord of the End. Demons were born from negative emotions, and Primordial White was the cruelest among the 7 great primordials. So what could command more awe from her than the end of the world? No. It surpassed even her own nature. Before the destruction of the world, she naturally had to submit and serve. You possess the potential to further awaken that power. I. Primordial White looked at Rin with clear anticipation in her eyes. Came for that reason. I have no interest in destroying the world. Rin's reply was blunt. He wasn't some villain obsessed with chaos. The fun of the world lay in its very existence. Without a world, wouldn't that be boring? To Rin, anyone who wanted to destroy the world had to be either insane or had something wrong with their head. And Primordial White, in Rin's opinion, was the perfect example of someone with something wrong in her head. Oh dear, what a willful man. Primordial White let out a soft laugh. But I can't bring myself to dislike him. You, who hold the authority of destruction, naturally have the right to decide when to end this world. Whether out of boredom or disgust. Only you. No, only you are qualified to determine the fate of this world. And that is why I seek you. Please allow me to follow you, Primordial White said, and witness this world until the day it ends. Rin had to admit, her words changed his impression of her quite a bit. At the very least, what Primordial White wanted was to witness, not cause the end. If that's all, Rin said, then I allow you to stay by my side. Hearing Rin's words, a faint blush appeared on Primordial White's flawless face. From this moment, please guide me. And with that, all four primordials had expressed their intentions and attitudes. Follow. Witness. Challenge. Submit. That was how demon values worked. If it aligned with their desires and instincts, they would accept the call and stay loyal to the end. Now, I'll trouble you all. When I awaken, I will naturally grant you the rewards you deserve. After those words, Rin lay down and slowly closed his eyes. Begin, everyone. Protect him while our master sleeps. Primordial Black naturally took command. Primordial White and the other two had no objections. In terms of strength, Primordial Black was indeed the strongest among the four. The four primordials stood around Rin and began forming a unique barrier using their immense magicules, safeguarding their master's safety. How exciting! Primordial Purple could see into Rin's soul. His many unique skills were overwhelming. How strong would he become once his awakening was complete? Are you really planning to challenge him? Primordial Purple looked over at Primordial Yellow. You might die, you know. Primordials could not truly die. Even if they were destroyed, they would eventually be reborn in the netherworld. But Rin was different. Behind him stood Violet, someone bold enough to even possess the world's will. Dealing with a mere primordial would be effortless for her. If he's to be my master, he must defeat me in a direct fight. Primordial Yellow couldn't even beat Rin in his unawakened state. What hope would she have after his awakening? Still, challenging the strong and testing the master's worth was only natural. You're being rude, Yellow. Just as Primordial Black was about to scold her, a terrifying pressure burst out from within Rin's body. This power. Whoa, you're kidding me, right? The four primordials, standing closest, were immediately overwhelmed by Rin's magicules. They already knew he possessed immense magical energy. The 990,000 magicule count wasn't for show. It was enough to reach the Demon Lord seed level, possibly strong enough to challenge a true Demon Lord. But what was happening now? This amount of magicules. Just how much is it? 5 million? 10 million? 20 million? What the hell is going on with him? At that moment, the magicule spilling out of Rin completely exceeded the limits his body should have been able to contain. Even Violet shouldn't have had this much magical energy. Judging from the accumulation, it would have been impressive if Rin had around 8 million left after the summoning. But this explosive growth in magicules completely overturned the understanding of the four primordials. To be continued. Chapter 215, The Restless Jura Great, Bonus. Race Dragonoid begins challenge evolution. Evolution successful. Race Dragonoid evolves into Dragon kind. Obtained exclusive race, Star King Dragon. Special skill, Demonic Dragon Transformation, evolves into Dragon God Transformation. Beginning magicules increase. Has the bloodline of the Star King Dragon been activated? The first to judge was Primordial Black. This kind of catastrophic magical energy is exactly the symbol of a great dragon. The magicules of a dragon kind were typically above 80 million. Even in the original work, few had reached that level. Those who did were already in the top tier of power. But now, Rin's magicules had surpassed the threshold and were still rising. Is this even reasonable? Why is it still going up? Primordial Yellow was completely stunned. Standing within the storm of magical energy, she actually felt herself wavering. Rumble. The ceiling above had been blown off, and the surrounding structures began collapsing. Such a phenomenon clearly went beyond their understanding of the Demon Lord seed awakening process. Even if Master carries the bloodline of that one, he is ultimately not the real body. Just awakening the bloodline and transforming into a dragon kind shouldn't produce such terrifying power. This was Primordial Purple's assessment. Among the primordials, she was the most familiar with the material world. Even so, Rin's current state still defied common sense. As the newly born fourth dragon kind, Rin's magicules would undoubtedly reach 80 million eventually, rivaling the Frost Dragon and Scorching Dragon. But to have this kind of output upon awakening, 2 to 3 million would have been normal. What made it even more unbelievable to Primordial Purple was that Rin's body hadn't changed at all. If Rin had transformed into the Star King Dragon before their eyes, they wouldn't have been this shocked. But the problem was that Rin, without any visible transformation, had released such tremendous magicules in human form. Indeed. Unlike the others, Primordial White's expression was filled with excitement and fanaticism. This power is the very reason you are king. The completion of Lord of the End, that ultimate skill, was turning into Rin's own power, elevating him to an even higher throne. No, it's not just that. My lord still harbors a hunger beyond our comprehension. A second ultimate skill is forming. Just as Primordial White said, the reason Rin's magicules were increasing at such an insane rate was not only because of the Star King Dragon bloodline awakening or becoming a dragon kind. The most critical factor was Violet, who had been accumulating magicules behind the scenes, laying the foundation for Rin to construct a second ultimate skill. Rumble. A towering column of magical light shot toward the heavens. But thanks to Violet's restraint, the phenomenon was locked within the Jura Great Forest, concealing Rin's awakening ritual from the outside world. However, that suppression only blocked outward transmission. For those already residing inside the Jura Great Forest, there was no such shielding. As a result, monsters across the forest felt like their minds had been struck by a heavy hammer. They stood frozen, dazed and dizzy. What's happening? My head hurts so much. Shizue held herself upright with great effort, but the turmoil within her magic power caused immense discomfort. Fortunately, the pressure lasted only a short while. Who? As she finally steadied herself, Shizue still felt a lingering chill. What was that just now? The girl could feel magic power flowing inside her again, but the unease continued to grow. What a terrifying aura. Could such a monster really be inside the Jura Great Forest? She tried to locate the source of the magic through perception, but no matter how she searched, she couldn't pinpoint it. For now, I'd better find somewhere to hide. From what she could sense, the entire forest was descending into chaos. Monsters and beasts were losing control. Shizue wasn't afraid of them. But if she experienced another shock like that in the middle of battle, she might not make it out alive. My king, what was that just now? Meanwhile, deep in the southern forest, the Orc General spoke nervously to the Orc Lord. I don't know. The Orc Lord turned to look in the direction of that overwhelming aura. Because of Rin's magical presence, the Orc Lord had finally regained clarity after many days of frenzy. Tell the troops to stop devouring. Everyone must endure for now. Even the hunger-maddened orcs froze under Rin's presence. Their instincts screamed at them not to move. Not to breathe too loudly. Because if they made a sound, they would be devoured by something far worse. As for the lizardmen, aside from Gabaru, who remained blissfully unaware, most of the tribe huddled inside their lairs, shaking. Could this be the aura of the legendary storm dragon? The lizardman chieftain thought back to that legendary creature. But it feels different from before. He could sense the awakening of a dragon-kind aura from Rin. But it wasn't the same as the storm dragon's presence. It had a different nature altogether. He couldn't make sense of it. So all he could do was order his people to stay hidden and wait for this calamity to pass. Quick, hurry up. Elsewhere, Gelmud, the demon wearing a crow mask, was frantically tapping the crystal orb in his hand, trying to contact Clayman. But the barrier around the forest had completely cut off communication between inside and out. Damn it. Gelmud smashed the crystal orb on the ground and stomped it violently. What is wrong with this forest? He had only left for a month, and everything had changed. The ogre tribe he had planned to subjugate had disappeared. They were hiding. The weak goblins had moved to some unknown location. Today, Gelmud had planned to meet the Orc Lord, the one he named, and lead him to attack the lizardmen. But without warning, he was suddenly overwhelmed by an indescribable sense of oppression. Unlike the others, Violet had given him special treatment. She cut off his contact with Clayman and even used Rin's aura to grind him down, from body to soul. To be continued. One bonus chapter will be released for every 200 power stones. Chapter 216, The Opportunity. No. I can't stay here any longer. The fear of death made Gelmud abandon his plan to meet the Orc Lord. He wanted to leave. Leave this strange forest. Compared to being punished by Clayman, what he feared more was this forest, which felt like a bottomless abyss. Unfortunately, Gelmud didn't know that the Jura Great Forest was already under the complete control of the Dryad sisters. With his strength, escaping was impossible. Wah! Deep within the sealed cave, Rimuru, who had been joyfully testing her new skills in the water, suddenly shot up into the air from an uncontrollable surge of magical energy, then splat into the wall like a blob. What? Rimuru hit the ground, trembling in fear. So terrifying. Because of the cave's insulation, those inside were the last to feel the impact of Rin's magical energy. Great Sage, what is this aura? It's scary. Alert, this aura is extremely dangerous. Exploration is not recommended. Ah, no, definitely not. Rimuru made a decisive choice, commanding Great Sage not to touch this obviously deadly aura. Hide. I have to hide. Without hesitation, Rimuru squeezed into a crack between two rocks and waited for the mysterious rumbling to pass. What Rin was causing felt exactly like a natural disaster. And when a disaster struck, you hid. Only fools went running toward it. Brother's aura. Even the infinite prison couldn't block Rin's aura entirely. The storm dragon looked up in shock. And that massive magical energy, it actually surpassed mine so quickly. While Rin's total still couldn't compare to the vastness of the Star King dragons, compared to the sealed storm dragon, Rin's magical energy had already reached a terrifying level. Is that the little one? The frost dragon Velzard immediately activated her ultimate skill, attempting to trace Rin's aura. No. He's hidden too well. I can't lock onto him at all. Velzard frowned. Not just because she couldn't locate Rin, but because she was starting to worry about meeting him again. Among the existing dragon kind, the storm dragon possessed the highest magical energy. As a natural embodiment of magic, his magical energy was practically infinite and could never be depleted. Next came Velzard and the scorching dragon. The two sisters had similar energy levels, both hovering around 80 million. And Rin. In just this short moment, his magical energy had already broken through 100 million and was still climbing. 120 million, 130 million. 160 million. Velzard's eye twitched slightly. This little brother is seriously terrifying. Even just comparing magical energy, he was nearly equal to the combined total of both her and her younger sister. But just magical energy doesn't mean everything. After all, the storm dragon had an endless supply, yet she'd still beaten him countless times. If Rin hadn't awakened a sufficiently powerful ultimate skill, then he still wouldn't be her opponent. Yes, that's how it is. Velzard kept reassuring herself. She was a special S-rank calamity with 2 ultimate skills. There's no way the youngest brother could be stronger than her. You stay here. Don't move. I'm going to take a look. Move. The storm dragon looked helpless. Big sister, I'm sealed. Say hi to my brother for me. Got it. With a casual reply, Velzard exited the sealed cave and soared high above the Jura Great Forest. She didn't search for Rin but floated silently in the air, like a guardian, vigilant for any external threats. Yes. Velzard was guarding the forest, guarding Rin's evolution. Just as Violet and Rin had expected, Velzard had no malice toward Rin, only goodwill. At most, a beating or two was nothing more than dragon-kind roughhousing. But if anyone dared to interrupt Rin's awakening right now, Velzard wouldn't hesitate to kill them on the spot. My brother. Only I get to bully him. Velzard's affection was that simple and straightforward. Still. She turned curiously toward the southeast part of the forest. What's going on today? Besides my little brother, someone else is awakening. No, not just southeast. Even directly beneath her feet. Because she had focused too much on Rin, Velzard had overlooked another aura. 3 people awakening on the same day. Setting aside the fact that she had to protect Rin and couldn't leave. Even if she were free, she wouldn't casually interfere with other monsters' evolution. Interesting. Velzard was sure now. Leaving the frozen northern region had been the best decision she ever made. The outside world was so much more exciting. Fry. At the same time, in the royal capital of the Harpy Queendom outside the forest. Fry, like Rin, was lying on her bed, asleep. An overwhelming magical energy radiated from around her. She too was undergoing her final breakthrough, evolving toward the realm of a true demon lord. As one of only 2 subordinates who did not enter the void, Arkansas Rin had rewarded Fry for stopping Malim previously, giving her enough souls and the opportunity to evolve alongside him. Fry took this chance, using Malim's proximity as protection, and began her evolution. Your Majesty, will she be all right? She will. Lukia reassured everyone. She believed firmly that the Queen would break her limits and step into a new realm. Fry. That damned woman. Over in the Puppet Kingdom, Clayman felt the magical fluctuations coming from the Harpy Queendom. This overwhelming aura was all too familiar. It was the Sky Queen. But the current Fry was far more terrifying than he'd imagined. Because of the barrier around the Jura Great Forest, Rin's evolution aura was almost completely suppressed. Yet Frey's awakening had no concealment. With Malim by her side, no one dared provoke her. So her dazzling evolution became the perfect cover for the aura that Violet wanted hidden. The members of the 10 great demon lords, and the powerful nations of the world, were all attracted to the spectacle in the Harpy Kingdom. None of them noticed the place that truly required attention. This had been Frey's suggestion to Rin when she learned of his impending evolution. To be continued. Chapter 217, Ultimate Skill, Bonus. It had to be said, Rin had truly made the right choice in accepting Frey as his subordinate. She might not be the one with the most potential under Rin, but she was undoubtedly the most experienced and the boldest. She had wagered her own life as the price. Is it at its limit? In the rift between the Jura Great Forest and the Void Ark, the other subordinate who remained in the Cardinal World was the former Dryad, Trainee. She was tasked with assisting Violet in stabilizing the forest barrier and calming the creatures, preventing a wider disturbance. Thus, Trainee had to stay behind. You did very well, Trainee. Violet's voice echoed in Trainee's heart. At the same time, a surge of pure, incomparable soul energy flowed into her body through the spatial corridor. This is Rin-sama's blessing upon you. Thank you, truly. Trainee closed her eyes, her entire being merging with the forest. When I awaken, I will go and pay my respects immediately. With Violet's world rule level concealment, Trainee's barrier, and Frey drawing attention from the outside. And if you included Velzard's personal watch over the area. 4 layers of protection. 4 women were jointly escorting Rin's evolution. So, are we actually redundant now? The 4 primordial demons, also within the forest and very close to Rin, naturally noticed the frost dragon Velzard suspended high above like a blazing sun. Aside from Frey's unknown condition, the sheer exaggeration of Rin's security measures left even the primordials speechless. Truly worthy. So cautious. Way too cautious. Hey, I'm telling you. Primordial Yellow looked speechlessly at Black and White, who were seconds away from turning into Rin fanatics. Get a grip, will you? Did you not see? The barrier is about to collapse. Though she understood the feelings. She also wanted to join in. But now really wasn't the time to be fawning over him. There's a limit to slacking off. Ah. It broke. My side broke. Purple, don't slack off. I'm not. Primordial Purple snapped back. I'm already giving it my all, you bastard. The 4 of them had to contain the immense magical energy pouring out from Rin's evolution. If they didn't, once that energy escaped, the entire monster town would be wiped off the map. If the mighty primordial demons couldn't even protect a small settlement, how could they have the face to stay at Rin's side? Don't conserve your magical energy. Primordial Black said. No matter what, we must defend Rin-sama's territory. Ha! With that, Primordial Black was the first to release his full strength. Then came White, followed by Yellow and Purple. At this point, Yellow had long since abandoned the idea of challenging Rin. Are you kidding? Just the residual magical energy leaking from him was enough to leave her gasping. Primordial Yellow, me, fighting Rin. Don't make me laugh. She had fully realized Rin's strength. To be able to serve someone that powerful. To be his lackey. Primordial Yellow felt immensely honored. Rin-sama, I revere you. Of course, Rin, immersed in his bloodline transformation, could not hear any of the demon's chatter. Nor did he know that Velzard had personally stepped up to guard him. At this moment, his consciousness, led by Violet, was challenging ultimate skill evolution over and over, pursuing even greater power. Ultimate skill, Lord of the End begins completing. Completion successful. Obtained ultimate skill, Lord of the End, a pep. Unique skill, Valhalla begins to challenge evolution. Evolution failed. Challenging again. Evolution failed. Unique skill, Valhalla integrates unique skill, original treasure vault, challenging evolution again. Evolution successful. Obtained ultimate skill, Lord of Creation, Tiamat. Unique skill, Void Ark begins to challenge evolution. Challenge successful. Unique skill, Void Ark has evolved into ultimate skill, Void God, Azathoth. Unique skill, Spirit of the World begins to challenge evolution. Challenge failed. Continuing challenge. Challenge failed. Unique skill, Spirit of the World integrates unique skill, Convergence, challenging evolution again. Challenge successful. Obtained ultimate skill, Lord of Myriad Armies, Michael. Unique skill, Capturer begins to challenge evolution. Challenge failed. Unique skill, Capturer integrates unique skill, Duplicator and Spirit Controller, challenging evolution. Evolution successful. Obtained ultimate skill, Lord of Wisdom, Uriel. Ultimate skill, Lord of the End integrates ultimate skill, Lord of Creation, begins to challenge evolution. Challenge successful. Obtained ultimate skill, Chaos God, Chaos. At this point, Rin's awakening ceremony had been completely completed. In truth, once he obtained his first ultimate skill, Lord of the End, he had already broken through his bottleneck and stepped into the realm of a true demon lord. From that moment, his magicule capacity had increased from 1 million to 9.99 million. To advance even further, he needed to construct a second path with at least one more ultimate skill. That was the requirement for reaching catastrophe level and being considered special S rank. However, Rin's case was far from ordinary. He already carried the bloodline of the Star King Dragon, making him a Dragonoid like Malim. But compared to Malim, who couldn't undergo full dragonification, Rin had the potential to inherit the title, the identity, and even the divine authority of the Star King Dragon. And so, with Violet's assistance, Rin completed his race evolution. From Dragonoid to Dragonkind. Dragonkind were naturally special S-rank catastrophes. Their magical energy was immense by nature. The same held true for Rin. By shifting from human form into Dragonkind form, he could undergo dragon godification and ascend as the new Star King Dragon. As for the gap between 9.99 million and 10 million, star particles themselves were the key to that gate. He no longer needed a stronger ultimate skill to breach it. This was similar to the Storm Dragon. Storm Dragon had no ultimate skill either, yet always ranked among the top in magicules. All in all, Dragonkind lived up to their name as the greatest race crafted by the Star King Dragon in his own image. A race born extraordinary. To be continued. One bonus chapter will be released for every 200 power stones. Chapter 218, The Somewhat Cowardly Frost Dragon. Rumble. As Rin's awakening ritual came to an end, the Great Jura Forest finally returned to peace. Countless monsters sensed the stabilized magicules and cautiously poked their heads out to see if it was truly safe now. The magicules have fully stabilized. In the sky, Velzard lowered her gaze to the vast expanse of the Great Jura Forest. The corners of her mouth curled slightly. She seemed very satisfied with Rin's successful awakening. Then, when will you come challenge me on your own initiative? Even though they hadn't met, Velzard had already gleaned Rin's personality through his magicules. He would definitely come challenge her once his evolution was complete. I'm a bit unsure. Thinking about Rin's terrifying power after awakening, Velzard furrowed her brows slightly. No, I'm the eldest sister. How could I lose to my little brother? That's right. Suddenly, Velzard thought of a brilliant idea: release Storm Dragon. Then the elder siblings could team up to suppress their youngest brother. Too despicable. Hey, this is Dragonkind business. How could Dragonkind business be called despicable? This was called strategy. This was the wisdom only an elder sister possessed. Exactly. Velzard found the perfect excuse for her lack of confidence. I'm not scared. I'm just being cautious. With that, Velzard returned to the sealed cave, preparing to discuss the team-up and beat-down plan with Storm Dragon. Is it done? Rin didn't know how much time had passed. When he opened his eyes again, he immediately sensed the changes in his body. So strong. Is this really my body? He propped himself up from the bed, only to realize the house he had been resting in had completely collapsed, reduced to a pile of rubble. As for the four primordials, they were in a pretty miserable state. However, Rin didn't have the time to concern himself with them. All of his attention was focused on his status panel. Itoshi Rin. Simplified. Only ultimate skills and special skills shown. Race, Star King Dragon. Dragonoid Magicules, 16 million, limited by soul strength. Dragonkind Magicules, 210 million EP, continuously rising. Level, S-rank/special S-rank, human form/Star King Dragon form. Special skills. Magicule solidification, inheritable. Star particle manipulation, non-inheritable. 10 rings of God, inheritable. Command spells, inheritable. Demonic transformation, non-inheritable. Exclusive skill. Twin martial spirits, Desolate Ice Master. Ultimate skills. Void God, Azathoth. Chaos God, Chaos. Lord of Myriad Armies, Michael. Lord of Wisdom, Uriel. Ultimate skills also varied in power. They were generally divided into 3 tiers. First were ordinary ultimate skills, usually named after common gods. These were broad in category, generally less specialized. Of course, there were some exceptions, such as Lord of the End, Apep, and Lord of Creation, Tiamat. Even though they appeared among the miscellaneous types, skills tied to creation-level deities were by no means inferior to first-tier ultimate skills. Above these were high-tier ultimate skills. These mostly belonged to the series of the 7 virtues and 7 deadly sins. However, even these weren't the pinnacle. Above them stood the true apex, transcendent class, such as the Cthulhu series. Lord of Spacetime Yog-Sothoth. Lord of Fertility Shub-Niggurath. Lord of Chaos Nyarlathotep, and so on. Rin's 4 ultimate skills included 2 gods and 2 lords. The 2 lords belong to the 7 Virtue series, classified as high-tier ultimate skills. The other 2 gods were beyond extraordinary. Azathoth and Chaos. Even within legends and myth, they were undoubtedly end-level existences. These 2 were Rin's true trump cards. Azathoth, Michael, Uriel. If Rin remembered correctly, these 3 ultimate skills did appear in the original story. No, while the names are the same, the effects are clearly different from those in the original. Rin recalled that Lord of Myriad Armies, Michael, originally belonged to the Lord of Justice. But now, this 7 virtue had been acquired by Violet. That alone was hard to believe. Lord of Myriad Armies, Michael. Description: a skill that grants the ability to command armies across countless worlds. Specific effect: with rules as a shield, it can block all attacks. With concepts as a spear, it can judge all enemies. As God's right hand and the highest-ranking archangel, Michael acts as God's will. He exists to eradicate all heresy. This aligned perfectly with Violet's role. And this ultimate skill was designed to feed Violet worlds, letting her act as Rin's divine executor, ruling over every realm. She would forge the laws of each world into an impenetrable shield. She would convert all concepts she had seen and understood into God's sharpest spear, annihilating Rin's enemies. So, with this skill, any power you've analyzed, Violet, will be ineffective against me. Rin paused. And I can take full control of any power system I've observed and understood. Correct. Violet's ultimate skill, in terms of offensive power, was hard to quantify at the moment. After all, the true powerhouses of this world weren't like Accelerator, who got taken out by a surprise attack just because he hadn't encountered magic before. Most demon lords in the Cardinal world were the real deal. Still, against most average ultimate skills, the concept Spear of Lord of Myriad Armies can pierce them effortlessly. It's a god-tier skill for bullying the weak. Rin nodded thoughtfully. Violet didn't refute it. Because what she valued most wasn't offensive ability, it was the absolute defense she could provide Rin. With Lord of Myriad Armies in hand, unless the opponent was truly monstrous, it would be nearly impossible to break through Rin's defenses. Lord of Wisdom, Uriel. This was Rin's second 7 virtue class ultimate skill. Its effect, infinite amplification of Rin's ability use. It covered, but was not limited to: thought acceleration, analytical appraisal, parallel processing, chant annulment, all of creation analysis, unified separation, ability modification. It was an all-encompassing power set. Also, Lord of Wisdom functions as a terrifyingly powerful supercomputer. In short, with the Lord of Wisdom at his side, Rin had gone from someone bad at combat to a battle specialist. What followed next were the real crown jewels in Rin's arsenal, ultimate skills named after gods, transcendent existences far beyond even the 7 virtues. To be continued. Chapter 219, Chapter 219, Before the Chaos God, all beings are equal. Bonus. Chaos God, Chaos. Void God, Azathoth. Even Violet couldn't fully explain the true nature of these 2 ultimate skills. She could only say one thing: they were terrifyingly powerful. So much so that even Rin, with the aid of Lord of Wisdom, might still cause immeasurable destruction if not careful. Void God is manageable. This ultimate skill mainly grants absolute control over time, space, laws, concepts, souls, and worlds. It's an all-encompassing, high-ceiling divine ultimate skill. Violet spoke very highly of Void God, describing it with an awe that bordered on reverence. A skill that felt near omnipotent. In contrast, Chaos God. When Violet mentioned Chaos God, even her voice trembled slightly. The power of Chaos God, Rin, you must handle it with extreme caution. Is Chaos God that strong? It's not about being strong, it's about being terrifying. Violet said calmly, Chaos God is a forbidden power that brings despair simply by existing. Let's describe it with the simplest numbers. Activating Void God could cost anywhere from a few units of magical energy to over 100 million, depending entirely on Rin's intent and control. But Chaos God. The minimum magical energy required to activate Chaos God starts at 100 million. Apart from Rin, the one who possesses Chaos God, no one is immune to its effect. Anyone who faces it will only meet one outcome: certain death. The power of Chaos God, let alone demon lords, can instantly erase even a dragon kind. Violet wasn't exaggerating. She wasn't joking either. Because Chaos God was never meant for combat in the first place. Its one and only purpose: absolute, indiscriminate destruction. Worlds, laws, matter, energy, souls, concepts. Everything that exists, under the power of chaos, will be devoured and returned to the most primitive void before the birth of the universe. Instantly kill a dragon kind. Rin blinked. You mean, completely obliterated? Yes. Violet answered without hesitation. Even the Storm Dragon, if targeted by Chaos God, would have no chance of escape. In fact, this ultimate skill could even challenge the Star King Dragon himself. Lord of the End had already been a power the Star King Dragon was unwilling to accept. And the Chaos God, evolved from Lord of the End, was a power meant to annihilate existence at the level of creation gods and entire universes. Unless the opponent also possessed an ultimate skill bearing the title of God, like Void God, the highest ranked among them, then before Chaos God, all beings are equal. If that's all, then you don't need to be so nervous. But the thing is, even I can't help you control it. This power belongs to you alone. Chaos God had specs far too high. Outside of Void God, which could barely exert some influence, even the 7 virtues and 7 deadly sins could hardly interfere. Which meant, Lord of Wisdom couldn't assist. The only person who could control it was Rin himself. And Rin's control during actual combat was obvious. Alright. I get it. Rin understood clearly. With his current control, using Chaos God was like a child holding the button to a nuclear warhead. Using up 100 million magical energy in one strike, how massive would the blast radius be? Rin didn't even dare to imagine. At the very least, it would exceed the scope of eliminating a dragon kind. It might even blast the entire Tensura world out of existence. From now on, Void God will be my trump card, and Chaos God will be the trump card among trump cards. At this point, Rin had finished reviewing all the ultimate skills he had acquired during his True Demon Lord awakening. And as for the results, Rin was extremely satisfied. Chaos God gave him the power to go down with anyone, like a nuclear deterrent. Void God firmly placed him at the top of the cardinal world. Of course, neither was a tool to use lightly. In fact, just Lord of Myriad Armies and Lord of Wisdom alone were enough to make Rin a top-class demon lord, capable of going toe-to-toe with Malim or Guy. By the way, I've felt something weird in my body since a while ago. Rin clenched his fist. What's going on? Rin asked, is it just an illusion caused by the power surge? No, not an illusion. Violet explained. This is thanks to your exclusive skill, Magicule Solidification. Ah, that makes sense. 16 million Magicules is obviously not on the same level as the 990,000 I had before. But Rin was still confused. Because the difference didn't feel like just tens of times stronger. It's not 16 million. It's 210 million. Huh. Rin blinked. But isn't the 210 million my Magicule count after transforming into a dragon kind? Yes, but this is completely different from the old Magic Dragon transformation. Violet clarified, Magic Dragon transformation is like going Super Saiyan. A temporary transformation that spikes your Magicules. In that case, your base state Magicule amount was still only 990,000. What about now? Now, that 210 million is your Magicules. It's not a transformation. Right now, Rin was more like Frisia. He suppressed his power, maintaining it at a more manageable level. But that didn't mean his 210 million Magicules were gone. The most direct effect appeared in his Magicule Solidification, which converted all that magical energy directly into his physical attributes. 210 million versus 1 million, that's over a 200x gap. Not to mention, he had also crossed the thresholds of S-rank and special S-rank, 2 qualitative leaps in power. If you activate Dragon Kind Liberation, your Magicules will climb even higher. At that point, Rin's magical energy would essentially become star particles, giving him the sheer destructive power to destroy worlds with just his physical body. Hearing all this, I kind of want to fight the Frost Dragon. Before, Rin had been worried the Frost Dragon would show up to challenge him. Now, he wanted her to come find him. Actually, no, if she didn't show up, he would go find her. That's a dragon kind. Storm Dragon. Frost Dragon. Rin had inherited the bloodline and divine rank of the Star King Dragon. They were family. And since they were family, naturally, they should be together. To be continued. One bonus chapter will be released for every 200 Power Stones. Chapter 220, Fry, the Idea King. Should the barrier be lifted immediately? Lift it. Rin temporarily suppressed his urge to go fight the Frost Dragon. By the way, how are Trainee and Fry? They've already woken up. Also, Trainee wishes to come for an audience. Let her come. Rin also wanted to see whether Trainee had acquired an ultimate skill after evolving into a true demon lord. After all, not every true demon lord gained an ultimate skill. And even if they did, it might only be an ordinary one. Rin-sama. A soft green glow shimmered as Trainee's figure appeared amidst the ruins. Congratulations on becoming a true demon lord. Trainee immediately offered her congratulations. You too. Rin responded while opening her status panel. Trainee, simplified. Race, Fairy Empress. Magical energy, 2.4 million EP, S-rank Demon Lord. Ultimate skill, Lord of Life, Isis. The ultimate skill trainee obtained was named Isis, the cosmic force in Egyptian mythology and the goddess who governs life and death. Compared to Lord of the End Apep, which can rival the seven virtues, Isis was clearly a tier below. Apep is the Egyptian god of destruction, Ra's brother, and holds higher status than Isis. In terms of strength, Lord of Life belongs to a normal ultimate skill. Not quite on par with the 7 virtues or 7 deadly sins series, but still on the stronger end of the standard ultimate skill tier. If ultimate skills were divided into 5 levels, lower, middle, upper, top, and transcendent, then Void God and Chaos God would be considered transcendent. The 7 virtues and 7 deadly sins are upper tier. Lord of Life would comfortably fall into the middle tier. As for top tier ultimate skills, their true names are usually connected to Cthulhu mythology and are formed by fusing 2 or more ultimate skills. It's precisely because of this that top-tier ultimates can rival even the 7 virtues and deadly sins. Rin-sama. Ah, Fry. Rin turned. How do you feel? Better than ever. Fry was completely devoted now. For 600 years, she'd failed to take this step. After following Rin, she achieved her lifelong goal in mere days. In the monster world, strength was everything. But at the same time, monsters were straightforward and pure. Fry was defeated by Rin, and he spared her. At first, she seemed like a servant. But in just a few days, she was rewarded with the awakening of a true demon lord. Fry deeply admired such a master from the bottom of her heart. Fry. Magical energy, 2.2 million EP, S-rank demon lord. Ultimate skill, Lord of the Sky, Horus. Compared to trainee, Frey's magical energy was slightly lower. However, both of their ultimate skills were on the same tier, middle tier ultimates. Placed among the current 10 great demon lords, these 2 women would likely be on par with the vampire queen who had yet to complete her promotion to the 7 deadly sins lust. Perhaps even slightly stronger, although their magical energy volume remained lower. When it comes to magical energy, what really matters is whether one can activate an ultimate skill. As for the amount, it's largely irrelevant. Take Rin, for example. Using Chaos God can destroy the world. So whether it's 100 million or 210 million magical energy, who cares? There's no such scenario as needing a second strike because the first didn't destroy enough. Fry, how's Malim doing? Now that Rin had confidence, he could face Malim head-on. Though of course, that didn't mean he should. Malim's ultimate skill could infinitely boost her strength, potentially leading to the world's destruction. Unless Rin used Chaos God directly on her. Otherwise, provoking Malim would only bring disaster. That child's a bit rowdy. Fry said, but if you just need her delayed a bit longer, that's no problem. Good. Keep her occupied. Rin nodded. I'll meet her after dealing with the Frost Dragon and Storm Dragon. I understand. Fry didn't need any further explanation to grasp her master's intention. Rin was quite pleased with that. Also, announce to the outside world that you've awakened as a true demon lord. Rin had just completed his evolution, and his next step was to unify the entire Great Jura Forest. Only after that would he establish a nation. Until then, he didn't want demon lords or other forces interfering in his peaceful farming sim. Rest assured. I know exactly what to do. Fry smiled, clearly thrilled that Rin had chosen her to take the spotlight. Vanity is a natural instinct for most, and Fry was no exception. If she could help Rin by attracting attention, all the better. Carrion, but you didn't see this coming. Fry looked toward the distant Beast Kingdom. While you're still fumbling around, I've already taken the leap. They had no personal enmity. But Fry had always disliked the brutes from the Beast Kingdom. This was a perfect opportunity to knock some sense into that fool Carrion. Though that guy's kind of a blockhead. Fry thought. His potential isn't bad. If possible, Fry wanted to draw Carrion into Rin's camp as well. Then with the Harpy Queendom and Beast Kingdom under his banner, and the Great Jura Forest united, the entire southeastern continent would belong to Rin. No. Fry shook her head. I can't be too hasty. I need to plan long-term. The success of this operation would depend entirely on her capabilities. If her actions forced Rin to step in or clean up after her mistakes, that wouldn't boost her standing in Rin's eyes. It'd only paint her as incompetent. Take it slow. Fry smiled radiantly. A gift for Rin-sama must be meticulously prepared. Is that all right? Violet's voice rang in Rin's mind. It's fine. Rin actually supported Frey's initiative. It was his decision to let his subordinates move proactively. Stepping forward was inevitable. Rin just wanted to avoid having everything land on his plate at once. Besides, don't you have everyone under your watch already, Violet? Fry thinks she's the one calling the shots. Heh. Not even close. In this world, the only true mastermind is Rin's top-tier proxy player, Violet. To be continued. Chapter 221, Chapter 221, Enhanced, Bonus. Violet said, if anything truly happens, I will notify you immediately. Trainee, I appoint you as the administrator of the Great Jura Forest. Rin looked at the fairy woman. As before, continue to maintain the ecological balance of the Great Jura Forest for me. As you command. Trainee first bowed respectfully, then said. As per your instructions, those with less than 500 magical energy will be directly expelled. However, while we were sleeping, some adventurers and an otherworlder entered the Great Forest. Please advise. How should we handle them? If it were the old trainee, given her temperament, she might not have cared about them. But now, Rin was the lord of the Great Forest. The lives and deaths of those who entered could only be decided by him. It's them. Without Rin's prompting, trainee had already projected a screen showing the people in question. Rin only glanced briefly at most of the groups. His attention remained on two scenes. In one was a three-person party. It was the alien trio from the original story, exploring the sealed cave. However. Whoa. I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Help. Watching the three being frantically chased by a B-rank monster, Rin honestly didn't know where to begin complaining. Are all adventurers in this world this reckless? Those three were adventurers from the Free Guild, but in truth, they were from the sorceress dynasty of Sarian. The blonde girl, Elian, was even the daughter of the Grand Duke of Sarian. The other two only appeared to be B-rank. In reality, their power was sealed and would only be unleashed if Elian were in real danger. Their true combat strength was probably enough to trade blows with A-rank Oni like Benimaru when he had just received his name. That kind of power, in the old Great Forest, would have been enough to move around freely. But the problem is. My friend, times have changed. The current Great Jura Forest is a different beast altogether. Magical mist, new rule-based powers, monsters whose strength has nearly increased a tier, and a gathering of magical beasts. If they kept exploring based on old maps, they would quickly learn the meaning of despair. Don't let them die. Rin sighed. Trainee, guide Izawa Shizue. That girl in the mask in this image. Lead her over there. The masked girl Rin pointed to was none other than Izawa Shizue, Shizu-san, the destined one of Rimuru in the original work. Rin wasn't surprised that these two groups had entered the Great Forest. Even though the Storm Dragon was still sealed here, the recent movements in the forest, especially the barrier set up by Trainee and her sisters, would naturally attract attention from various powers. Is that all? Yeah. Rin said, no need to stop them. No need to monitor them closely either. He had more important things to handle and really didn't have the time to fuss over Ellen and company. As for Shizu, Rin did have some thoughts. She was a tragic character in the original story. If they met, Rin wouldn't mind lending her a hand. Just in time. After this evolution, my number of subordinate slots has increased significantly. Rin felt that Izawa Shizue might be a good candidate. Whoosh. Just as Rin was thinking that, 4 figures appeared before him. They were the 4 primordial demons he had summoned. All 4 knelt on one knee, offering their congratulations to the newly awakened Rin. Thank you. Rin smiled at the 4. Thanks to you, this town was protected. Violet had already filled him in on what happened while he was evolving. To protect the town, and to prevent the magical energy erupting from Rin from destroying the territory, the 4 had truly done everything they could. Not at all. Primordial Black said. We were summoned. Serving our summoner is our duty. Rin nodded. Even so, I will not mistreat those who have contributed. So, one last time, are you willing to pledge loyalty to me, never to betray? We are. Without hesitation, all 4 demons answered in unison. They were willing to pledge loyalty to Rin, to never leave nor betray him. I accept your loyalty. Rin said, and now, I shall bestow names upon you. Hearing Rin was about to give them names, all 4 showed looks of shock, followed by joy. For demons, being bestowed a name was equivalent to the highest form of incarnation. They were the ancestors of demonkind. It was already extremely difficult for them to obtain physical bodies, far harder than it was for other demons. But if it was Rin, he definitely had the ability to give them bodies. You're really going to name us? But if you do, it'll consume a tremendous amount of magical energy. Perhaps. No need to worry. Rin cut off Primordial Black and White's attempts to dissuade him. He had more than enough magical energy now, and it was still rising. With the Star King Dragon's bloodline, his 210 million magical energy wasn't the limit at all. According to Violet's estimate, he could sustain 400 to 500 million without issue. Sustain here meant his magical energy would recover instantly after being used. And once magical energy surpassed 100 million, its actual numerical value started to lose meaning. From the cardinal world's perspective, anything above 100 million was already considered infinite magical energy. In other words, Rin no longer needed to calculate how much magical energy he was consuming or consider its feedback. As long as he willed it, he could name demons endlessly. The consumed magical energy would immediately recover. Rimuru needed to rely on the storm dragon. But Rin himself was an enhanced storm dragon. This is your reward for protecting me. No need to hesitate. Just accept it. After speaking, Rin looked to Primordial Black and said, "From now on, you are Diablo." Then came Primordial White, Testarossa. Primordial Yellow, Carrera. Primordial Purple, Ultima. Thank you for bestowing names upon us. After receiving their names, the magical energy within all four surged dramatically. From hundreds of thousands, it instantly broke through the 1 million mark. At the same time, Rin discarded 4 subordinate slots, linking them together and transforming them into his official dependents. This is. The 4 did not resist. Even the most hot-headed of them, Primordial Yellow, quietly accepted Rin's transformation without resistance. To be continued. One bonus chapter will be released for every 200 power stones. Chapter 222, Awakening of the 4 Primordials. You should have quite a few souls, right? After completing the previous step, Rin asked. Yes. However, the souls in our possession are too impure. In any case, please do not find them lacking. Demons had no shortage of souls. Especially the 4 among the 7 primordial pillars, who had accumulated soul energy across countless ages. However, the quality was too mixed, which made them unsuitable for advancement. It's fine, give them all to me. Rin said, you won't be needing them anymore. Though the 4 were puzzled, they didn't question him. Instead, they promptly transferred all of the soul energy they had gathered over the ages to Rin in one go. A good amount. Rin made a rough estimate. After refinement, this could yield at least 5 more true Demon Lord slots. Spending 4 shares of soul energy to gain 5 Demon Lord seeds, he had essentially profited a whole 1. Combined with the remaining soul energy Rin already had, it was enough to help 3 more subordinates evolve into true Demon Lords. Prepare yourselves. I will now grant you the Demon Lord's blessing. The Demon Lord's blessing was Rin's unique method for helping the 4 awaken as true Demon Lords. Their aptitude, potential, and the foundation they had built over countless years were more than enough to break through. Becoming Rin's subordinates was the final key to unlocking that evolution. The 4 were stunned by Rin's generosity. They were newcomers, having only just arrived, and hadn't made any contributions yet. Yet Rin was already performing the awakening ritual for them. Such grace and favor. In that moment, whether it was Diablo, or the 3 women, White, Yellow, and Purple, all of them were deeply moved by Rin's actions. Especially Primordial White. The gaze of this red-eyed, white-haired mature woman changed as she looked at Rin. Her eyes were filled with love and adoration. Primordial Yellow and Primordial Purple weren't much different. At that moment, the 3 of them had the same thought in their hearts, from this point on, they must find a way to repay Rin. Rin-sama's most beloved. Can only be me, X. Rin didn't notice the heartfelt cries of the 3 women before they drifted into slumber. Rest for a while in my world. Looking at the 4 who had fallen asleep during their Demon Lord awakening, Rin waved his hand and placed them within the world of the God of the Void. Let's go, trainee. After establishing the subordinate contracts and initiating the awakening ritual, Rin brought trainee into the world of the God of the Void. This is. As soon as she entered, trainee's pupils shrank. What a magnificent sight. In the Void world, Rin and trainee stood in a boundless sea of stars, overlooking the land ahead. After the Void Ark evolved into the Void God, the entire internal world underwent earth-shaking transformation. Compared to the former Void Ark, which was merely a single continent. The current Void God now had the embryonic form of a true universe. In a sense, Rin was like the Star King Dragon, using his authority to create a new world, having achieved the miracle of creation. To distinguish it from the cardinal world, Rin had named this place the Void World. The internal space was infinite and would continue to expand over time. Although those stars are all real, no life has yet formed on them. Rin said, in this world, the only place where life currently exists is the continent before us. The continent floating within the void had been forged by Violet using star particles. It had an incredibly stable natural ecosystem and self-sustaining internal cycle. The only pity was that no native life had been born here. Also, due to a lack of followers, the Void World's current utilization rate was incredibly low, not even on par with the Great Jura Forest. Do you intend to develop this world? Trainee asked, but Rin shook his head. No, that's too much trouble. The Cardinal World was already complete, so there was no need for Rin to go out of his way to replace it. Now that he had become the new Star King Dragon, wasn't it only natural for him to inherit the Cardinal World? As for the Void World, Rin's purpose for it was clear: it was a retreat. So, he had no intention of creating or fostering native life in the Void World. At most, he would use it as a resource hub and a safe haven for his people. Of course, if I discover a particularly interesting world, I'll bring it here as well. That was the power of the Void God. Rin could devour other worlds and use them as nourishment to grow the Void World. Whoosh! The next moment, with a thought, Rin and Trainee instantly appeared near the Einsburn Castle region. A sea of flowers stretched around them, where a large number of monsters were lying in slumber. These were Rin's goblins, Oni, Tengu clan, and beastmen. Rin-sama. The first to awaken were Rin's dependents, followed by the strongest warriors. Cheyenne, Shuna, Benimaru, and Sui all stepped forward and knelt in reverence. Congratulations on becoming a demon lord, master. You too. Rin smiled as he swept his gaze across them. You've all grown stronger. Thanks to your blessing. And so, Rin stood quietly among the Oni, waiting for everyone to awaken. Before long, as the last one opened their eyes, the entire promotion ritual was complete. Rin-sama. Ah, Rigard. Rin looked at the burly man approaching him. Come to think of it, did you get taller again? Haha, now that I've evolved into an Oni, I'm over 3 meters tall. Rin still remembered that Rigard had once been a hunched goblin elder less than 50 centimeters tall. Now, looking at him, he's practically a different person. As that thought crossed Rin's mind, his eyes shifted to a certain short young man named Gobta. Still just as short as ever. Even though his magical energy has clearly risen to Oni standard. But this look. Is he cursed? Rin complained silently. All he could say was, Gobta definitely had a cannon fodder face. Thanks to the Demon Lord's blessing, Rin's forces had gained a massive surge in strength. Even the weakest hobgoblins and goblinas had evolved into Oni, placing them at B rank or B+ rank. Among them, those with high potential even broke through to A rank in a single leap, completing a double evolution and becoming advanced Oni. The original Oni clan, on the other hand, had all evolved into special A rank Soul Oni and Wicked Oni. To be continued. Chapter 223, Mo Beastman. Soul Oni and Wicked Oni. The former excelled in magic, while the latter specialized in close combat. Taking one step further would mean becoming a Divine Oni, a level comparable to a true Demon Lord. However, due to Rin's existence as their master, even Shuna, Cheyenne, and the others were stuck at the threshold of 990,000 Magicules, unable to advance any further. In short, Rin's monsters had completely achieved the feat of all starting at B rank. After tallying the numbers, following your awakening, the Monster Nation currently has the following members. 7,200 B to B+ rank Ogre, 1,400 A to A+ rank Oni, and a total of 250 special A rank Soul Oni and Wicked Oni. 560 A to A+ rank Starfang Wolves, and 30 special A rank Wolf King. 25,000 A to A+ rank Great Tengu, and 500 special A rank Kunitsu Tribe. In addition to these, there were 15 quasi-demon lords who had reached 990,000 Magicules. Oni, Shuna, Cheyenne, Benimaru, Sui, Hakuru, Akano. Tengu Clan, Keed, Momiji. Fairy, Doris, Traya. Wolf Clan, Hashiga. Dependents, Ojapan, Snow Empress, Ice Empress, Artoria, Justice. This count did not include Fry and Trainee, who had already evolved into true demon lords, nor the 4 primordial demons who were currently undergoing evolution. Snow Empress, Ojapan, Artoria. Rin called the 3 girls over, then took out 3 portions of soul energy, enough for them to complete their awakening. Become demon lords. Rin had carefully considered who to choose. Firstly, there was no absolute power gap between a true demon lord without an ultimate skill and a quasi-demon lord. As for Shuna, Cheyenne, and the others, their development and understanding of unique skills were still incomplete. Forcing their evolution now would hinder their potential to awaken ultimate skills in the future. As for veterans like Hakuru and Keed, they simply had too few unique skills. Rin could already foresee their failure if they challenged an ultimate skill prematurely. Without hesitation, Ojapan accepted the soul energy. She cheerfully found a large tree. Then casually lay down and began her true demon lord awakening, no ceremony, no precautions. Snow Empress and Artoria smiled helplessly. But they weren't the type to fuss either. After quickly absorbing the soul energy, they each found a suitable spot and entered a new round of slumber. With Rin and their companions nearby, there was no need to worry about any outside interference. Oh right, there's also them. Rin waved his hand, summoning the 4 primordials he had placed in another part of the void world. 7 people, all undergoing Demon Lord awakening at the same time. Such a magnificent sight left the elders like Akano, Hakuru, and Keed in complete awe. You all watch over them. I'll go take care of the new children. Shuna, Cheyenne, Justice. Take a group of female Oni and fallen angels with you. Help maintain order. Rin was about to begin naming the cursed children and officially transform them into monsters of the cardinal world. Yes, monsters. Due to the Gastria genes in their bodies, the cursed children had been judged by the voice of the world to be beastmen. Take Yashiro, for example. Yashiro. Race, Mo Beastman. Magicules, 6000 EP, B rank, Demon Lord's blessing already applied. Intrinsic skills. Regeneration, terrifying vitality, can rapidly recover even from a destroyed heart. Beastification, can transform into an animal matching her genes. General skills. Pokémon magic, may inherit one or multiple types of magic. Various professions, random assignment based on compatibility. Unique skill, navigator. Mo Beastman. This was a subspecies of Beastman Violet had specially tailored for the girls. The average Magicules of a Mo Beastman girl was around 6,000. The strongest, like the eldest of the 5 sisters, had reached a staggering 9,000, B+ rank, and even awakened a unique skill, Devastator. Of course, not every Mo Beastman girl could awaken a unique skill. Out of 500,000 girls, only around 10 had them. Most of these were initiators who had appeared in the original story. For example, Rabbit Girl Enju Ehara, Leaper. Owl Girl Tina Sprout, Nightwalker. Cat-Eared Girl Midori Fuse, Swift. Dolphin Girl Ko Senju, Thinker. Spider Girl Katahira Yuzuki, Restrainer. Raccoon Girl Mibu Asaka, Slasher. Insect Girl Hataru Kuro, Regenerator. Mantis Girl Kohina Hirako, Killer. He appointed Tina as the captain and Senju as the vice captain. Finally, there was the only human Rin had brought back from the Black Bullet world. The Holy Maiden. Saitenchi. Race, Saint, Unawakened. Magicules, 260,000 EP, Special A rank. Unique skills, Exalted 1, Protector, Savior. Special trait, Saint's Egg, Unhatched. As expected of the girl who kept her kindness in the cruel world of Black Bullet. Rin felt his judgment had been excellent. He could tell immediately just how extraordinary she was. Her soul quality was remarkably high. Even the voice of the world had granted her 3 unique skills because of it. Though none were combat-focused. Exalted 1, upholds her true heart, grants immunity to all forms of mental corruption, and grows stronger as she is recognized. Protector, designates 1 or more protection targets, including herself. The more targets, the greater the Magicules consumed. Savior, can restore what has been destroyed, heal injuries, and even revive the dead, at a certain cost. Growth type Exalted 1. Defense type Protector. Healing type Savior. The process of protecting and saving others nurtures her sublime. That in itself helps her grow. Rin could only say that this girl was a born saint. As long as she didn't die prematurely, she would surely become an awakened saint in the future, one who stood equal to an awakened demon lord. Will you be my subordinate, Saitenchi? After bestowing a name upon the Holy Maiden, Rin extended the olive branch once again. I am willing. Since Saitenchi had already chosen to follow him, she had no reason to refuse becoming a subordinate. She already knew Rin's true identity. A demon lord from another world. An existence with the power of both creation and destruction. Far mightier than the gods she had once prayed to. But Saitenchi didn't care about that. As long as she could gain the power to protect her world and save her people, she would revere Rin as a god, and pledge to him her unwavering loyalty. To be continued. 1 bonus chapter will be released for every 200 power stones. Chapter 224, Chapter 224, Is It Not Common Knowledge? Welcome to the fold. Rin transformed the Saitenchi into a dependent, and along with that, her Magicule surged from 260,000 to 990,000. Saints, like heroes, are originally a power belonging to the human side. So, the Saitenchi wasn't a monster, but a saint who had evolved beyond humanity. Rin couldn't convert the Saitenchi into a monster. But he could turn her into a dependent. In any case, after breaking through to Special S rank, his original 24 slots had expanded to 108. With 108 dependent slots, Rin wasn't remotely lacking in openings. This was also why he had the confidence to take down the 4 primordials all at once. Even if half were handed over to the cardinal world, that still left 54 slots. That was enough to sweep up nearly all the named and top-tier combatants mentioned in the original story. Furthermore, Rin had a feeling. As his strength kept growing and Lord of Wisdom evolved into a top-tier ultimate skill, he would eventually break the limit on dependent slots altogether. But for now, I still need to be a bit frugal. Precisely because of this, Rin reluctantly gave up on the adorable girls. Don't worry, I'll bring all of you home sooner or later. They're back. Ah, the town's in ruins. As expected of Rin-sama, he's too strong. Yo-ho. Time to get to work. We have to rebuild the town before nightfall. Oh. Returning from the void world, Rin watched as his dependents, led by Akano, began clearing the wreckage. Then they used magic to repair roads and reconstruct buildings. Following the Oni, Rin had also brought the Beastkin and the Winged race under his command. The so-called Beastkin included the Wolf race and the Mo Beastman girls, totaling more than 500,000 individuals. The Winged race currently included only under 30,000 from the Tengu clan. However, Frye and her subordinate Winged tribes also counted as part of the Winged race. Which meant that soon, over 1 million Winged would follow Frye and become major Magicule contributors to Rin. Although at this point, the actual quantity of Magicules no longer concerned him. The increase in dependents and subordinates would still raise Rin's Magicules in his human form. Just like now, Rin could clearly feel his power climbing. Itoshi Rin. Normal Magicules, 16 million 23 million, 30% increase due to Cursed Children and Tengu clan. Star King Dragon form, 210 million 220 million. After all, who would complain about having too many Magicules? Trainee. On the other side, Shuna approached Trainee. There's something I'd like your help with. Oh, no need to be so formal, Miss Shuna. Trainee smiled. I'm also part of the Monster Nation now. Just let me know what you need. There was no helping it, Trainee had become an awakened demon lord. Even though Trainee had an excellent temperament, Shuna still had to be mindful of their status differences. It's about expanding the town. Shuna gestured toward the Mo Beastmen constantly pouring out of the void world. With so many children arriving all at once, the current area just isn't enough. We need to push the town outward. I understand. Trainee was in charge of forest management. I'll move the plants to clear enough space for everyone. For the current trainee, this kind of thing was just a word away. With the command of the Fairy Queen, what plant in the forest would dare disobey? Then I'll leave it to you. Shuna handed a development blueprint to trainee. Please follow the markings on this map and transform the terrain accordingly. No problem. Trainee took the plan, called her sister cheerfully, and ran off to start work. Afterward, Shuna found Momiji and Ki to arrange living quarters for the Wolf race and the Tengu clan. After this expansion, the monster town would truly become a city. But not all monsters would live within it. Like the Tengu clan. They had specific environmental preferences and preferred to live on high mountains or deep in valleys. So Rin didn't force them to abandon their homeland. According to Rin's plan, each subordinate race would be given both urban property and forest territory based on their strength, race, and status. Take the Wolf race for example. The original 18 Wolf Kings had each selected different areas to establish their own clans and gather new C-rank Starfang Wolves. Once they joined, the Starfang Wolves would evolve under the influence of the Wolf King's Magicules, becoming part of their clans. As for the Tengu clan, Rin appointed them to border patrol duties, allowing them to continue living in the Kusha Mountains. At the same time, he handed over the Kusha Mountains and surrounding areas to the Tengu clan for governance. Frye is one of us now. There's no need to keep your guard up around her. Facing Momiji and Benimaru, Rin said, I need you to establish a defense line in the east and monitor both the Beast Kingdom and the Puppet Nation along the way. In other words, this was a frontline fortress to be guarded by 2 quasi-demon lords. The central region will revolve around Einsburn Castle and expand outward into an academy district. Rin then looked at the Saitenchi beside him. The academy will be divided into elementary, middle, and high school levels based on age. Children will learn magic, martial arts, culture, explore their interests, and discover their talents here. Saitenchi, I plan to entrust you with managing the academy district. Is that all right? This academy district was a living zone Rin had prepared especially for the Mo Beastmen. They were still young and unable to distinguish right from wrong. What they needed most right now wasn't power, but education and the establishment of correct values. Please rest assured, I'll take good care of the children. Saitenchi answered with confidence. She had received top-tier political education since childhood. Leaving aside battle and combat. When it came to economics, politics, public service, and education, she was confident she wouldn't lose to anyone in the Monster Nation. Next, let's discuss the internal personnel structure of the Monster Nation. Rin looked at the people gathered in the castle hall and began. Akano, Hoshiga, Keed, Traya, and Doris, I grant you the title of the Monster Nation's 4 heavenly kings. You will each be responsible for defending the West, Kingdom of Falmuth, North, Dwarf Kingdom, East, Eastern Empire and the territories of the two Demon Lords, and South, Sorceress Dynasty of Sarian and Dragon Country, regions of the forest. To be continued. Chapter 225, Chapter 225, Newcomers are all monsters. The four heavenly kings, an almost indispensable element in the typical otherworld hero and demon lord trope. Rin was a demon lord, so after establishing the monster nation, he naturally had the authority to appoint his own four heavenly kings. As for why there were four heavenly kings. Isn't it common knowledge that there are four heavenly kings? Just kidding. Tria, Doris, in addition to monitoring the Sorceress Dynasty, you'll also assist Trainee in properly managing the forest. So what looked like one heavenly king position was actually held jointly by the two sisters. Moreover, the ruling class of the Sorceress Dynasty consisted of the elf race. As mentioned before, the elf race were a type of fairy, all descended from dryads who entered the material world. Tria and Doris were from the immortal spirit race, sharing the same origin as elves and fairies. Having them interface with the Sorceress Dynasty would help minimize suspicion to the greatest extent. Thank you for your appointment. The sisters bowed. We will never betray your trust. During this time, do your best to gather the elf race. Rin said, I intend to develop the fairies into the fourth dependent race. Fairies and demons. Rin's next targets were those two races. Conveniently, the next strategic target for the sisters, the Sorceress Dynasty Sarian, had a massive elf population. That's wonderful. We'll definitely work hard. The two women were overjoyed and immediately expressed their thanks on behalf of the fairy race, including pixies, the elf race, and others, for Rin's generosity. As for how Rin gained his fourth family slot. After evolving into a demon lord, Rin's family limit increased from 3 to 6. This allowed Rin to incorporate new monster races as part of his family. Master, how should we handle relations with the Dwarf Kingdom to the north? The Starfang wolves under Hashiga would be directly facing the Dwarf Kingdom. He wasn't afraid of clashing with the so-called hero king of the dwarves. Still, Hashiga needed clarification on how to approach them. Focus on defense. Do not initiate conflict unless necessary. Rin said, the Dwarf Kingdom has a population of 50 million. Starting a conflict now wouldn't benefit our development at all. Of course, Rin could send his quasi-demon lord level subordinates. No matter how powerful the Dwarf King was, he wouldn't be able to stop Hashiga and the other high-level combatants. But the dwarves cannot be conquered by violence. As a race, the dwarves were descendants of earth-attributed fairies. They were stubborn, honest, and extremely trustworthy, making them outstanding allies who rarely broke promises once made. If we use military coercion, even if we win, all we'll get is a pile of rubble. Plus, there was no existing grudge between them. Why would Rin attack them without cause? Yes, he was a demon lord. But to Rin, demon lord was just a power tier. It didn't have any practical meaning. Nowhere was it written that a demon lord had to invade countries or destroy the world. Besides, the Great Jura Forest is vast. With a current population under 1 million, there's still far more land than we can develop. Rin's plan for the monster nation, like Rimuru's, was to focus on agriculture, supplemented by commerce, following a path of neutrality. Right now, our most important task is to increase our population. As for war, that depends entirely on the enemy's attitude. Rin said, I hope you can remember this clearly. Especially you, Akano. The Oni race needs to stay alert regarding the Western countries. Humans have a deep-seated hostility toward monsters, Rin said. If they find out a demon lord has appeared in the Great Jura Forest, they will definitely take action. Rin-sama, rest assured. I will never let those guys cross even a single step past the border. Akano wasn't the type to suffer in silence. If humans really tried to invade, the Oni would absolutely retaliate. Rin wasn't as naive as Rimuru, issuing orders like, do not harm humans. Besides, what did the humans of this world have to do with Rin? He felt no sense of kinship toward them. It's not just about defense. Rin's tone turned cold. If the Western countries dare declare war on us, then they're asking to be annihilated. The monster nation would never be the aggressor. But if someone dared to start a war, Rin would have full justification to wipe them out. Thus, the Tria sisters would reach out to the elf race of the Sorceress Dynasty, the Oni would guard against humans from the Western countries, and the Tengu clan would work with Fry to monitor the Beast Kingdom and Clayman's movements. For quasi-demon lord class combatants, each leading a race. Such strength was more than enough for defending a nation. It could even be used to attack 4 separate countries at once. Rumble. Not long after Rin issued his orders, a terrifying surge of magicules erupted outside the castle. Clearly, Diablo and Snow Empress had awakened. This time, however, since Rin and Violet had stayed conscious. Everyone's magic was perfectly contained within the town limits, not a trace leaking out. Such a terrifying aura. Even as Rin's family, Shuna couldn't help but tremble under the overwhelming pressure radiating from the 7 individuals. So strong. Cheyenne's face was tense, but she wasn't afraid. Rather, she was itching to fight. I really want to test myself against them. Oh my, oh my. Hakuru stroked his beard, narrowing his eyes at the 4 unfamiliar figures. No wonder our lord took a liking to them. They really are something else. The 4 primordials were newcomers, yet they received Rin's blessing and underwent direct demon lord awakening. Such treatment stirred not only admiration but also a trace of envy among the other family members. Boom. As if sensing those feelings, a crimson glint flashed through Diablo's pitch-black eyes. In an instant, every monster present was wrapped in a frigid, bone-chilling killing intent and demonic energy. Even those at the quasi-demon lord level felt as if they had fallen into an icy abyss, unable to move. That magical energy. Are you kidding me? Where did these newcomers come from to be this unbelievably powerful? Umph. Just as Diablo's majesty was about to take effect, Artoria let out a dissatisfied snort. In the next moment, the demonic energy vanished. It was replaced by a neutral, soft, and gentle holy light that instantly swept away the fear and pressure from everyone's hearts. To be continued. 1 bonus chapter will be released for every 200 power stones. Chapter 226, Chapter 226, Primordial White and Snow Empress. Please mind your behavior. Artoria cast a displeased glance at Diablo. Attacking comrades is going too far. Ah, my apologies, my apologies. Diablo maintained his elegant demeanor and bowed sincerely to Shuna, Cheyenne, and the others. I merely sensed some doubt and chose to use certain methods to prove myself. No one could really fault him for that. After all, they had been the ones to question the 4 primordials in the first place. Besides, Diablo had perfect control. He would never let anyone get hurt. If I've offended anyone, I offer my sincerest apology here. Pfft. Carrera couldn't help but laugh at Diablo's over-the-top behavior. You mustn't be rude in front of Rin-sama, Yellow. Got it. Carrera waved her hand lazily, clearly not taking Diablo's words to heart. As members of Rin's dependent, they could directly sense Rin's mood. If their actions would truly displease him, they wouldn't have done it to begin with. Enough. Rin stepped in to stop the primordial's antics. He had never expected his dependents to all get along perfectly. That was unrealistic. Moreover, the 4 primordials were demons to their core. Rin had no intention of forcing human values onto them. His only rule was this. Do not harm comrades, and absolutely never betray your own. This will be the first and last time. Rin warned, do not make this mistake again. Understood. Diablo lowered his head. I will follow your will. The 3 women also voiced their resolve in unison, promising to integrate into the group as best as they could and never bring trouble to Rin-sama. Satisfied, Rin nodded. Congratulations to all of you on successfully awakening. All thanks to your gracious gift. And now. Primordial Black, Diablo. Primordial White, Testarossa. Primordial Yellow, Carrera. Primordial Purple, Ultima. Present ourselves to you. Led by Diablo and Primordial White, the 4 demon primarchs knelt in unison and offered a formal salute to Rin. To our lord, Demon Lord Rin-sama, we offer everything. As the 4 introduced themselves, leaving aside the younger monsters, the experienced Hakuru and Keed were utterly shaken. And not just the old couple. Trainee, Trya, Doris, and other fairies who had lived for thousands of years also visibly paled. The 5 of them instinctively gasped. Primordials. Demon Dukes. Black, white, yellow, purple, the legendary 7 pillars. To the beings of the cardinal world, demons were like ghost stories from Rin's previous life. And among them, these 4, primordial-class demon dukes, were the stuff of childhood nightmares. Nation-destroying, genocidal horrors. Unthinkable. Keed muttered, stunned. That you would actually swear allegiance to Rin-sama. No, it should be said, as expected of Rin-sama. Even the primordials, the incarnations of chaos, had been tamed by him. Demons were indeed evil, but they valued contracts above all. They didn't lie lightly, nor did they make vows they couldn't uphold. Yet just now, the 4 had clearly sworn loyalty to Rin. That meant they would serve him wholeheartedly. No betrayal, no regret, for all eternity. Your reaction is strange. Ultima tilted her head. It is our honor to serve Rin-sama. Just seeing how these primordials revere Rin left the others speechless. Unfortunately, their loyalty was absolute, but it extended only to Rin. Only his words and thoughts mattered. As for everyone else, sorry, they didn't register. Ogerpon. On the other side, Ogerpon peeked out from behind Snow Empress and Artoria. After this evolution, Ogerpon had grown from a girl around 12 or 13 into a mature 16-year-old. Yes, aside from her chest still being flat, the girl had clearly grown. You've grown, Ogerpon. Come here. Rin beckoned her over. He had always treated his first companion like a younger sister. The girl ran over cheerfully, then jumped straight into Rin's arms. Good girl. Rin let her sit on his lap and gently stroked her hair. Ogerpon has awakened too. Ogerpon is stronger now. She beamed. I can protect Rin better now. What kind of favoritism is this? Who is this person? How is she receiving such special treatment from Rin-sama? Diablo was green with envy. He too wanted to be patted by Rin-sama. Demons, such strange creatures. Snow Empress, walking at the end, slowly circled the four who had stood up, then stood by Rin's side. Her attitude was icy. Snow Empress made no effort to hide her hostility toward the primordials. That aura, are you a fairy? Testarossa spoke with a composed smile. She raised her head, crimson eyes locking with Snow Empress's icy blue ones. Invisible sparks flew. In the cardinal world, Snow Empress was categorized as a fairy. And fairies restrained demons. Demons restrained angels. Angels restrained fairies. That said, Testarossa wasn't the type to provoke just because of racial compatibility. She simply disliked Snow Empress. The reason was simple, their personalities. Like Snow Empress, Testarossa was a cool, elegant older sister type. Reserved, calculating, distant. So. This one's annoying. Both women thought at the same time. A bit of an eyesore. Hey, are you really a monster? Carrera tilted her head, studying Artoria. You smell like a human hero. Carrera was very interested. If possible, she wanted to spar with her right away. A friendly match, of course. Nothing too serious. And that kind of thing didn't violate Rin's rules. A berserker. Artoria sensed Carrera's fighting spirit and responded with a smile. I'll gladly accept your challenge anytime. You're willing to fight? Then we're good friends. Just as Artoria had seen through Carrera's essence, Primordial Yellow had also noticed the exquisite martial prowess of the King of Knights. To be continued. One bonus chapter will be released for every 200 power stones.